Hello my angels, it's me, Spiritual Karen. It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, I'm back now and I'm going to be doing longer content for YouTube. Now, I'm entitled it Confessions of an Angel. Because I'm an earth angel. I'm one at 13. I'm descendant of Jesus Christ. Anyway, reason why I've not been about much is because there's a lot of talk on community about karma hitting, and for me, I think it's important, seeing though Richard the Warlock talks a lot about his life, so I feel it's time for me to have my platform to discuss my connection with Warlock. Now I believe in karma, but I don't think karma's coming from him. No, he's just using black magic because he's so dark. So I want to try and explain to you all why we've got to this state in community. So there's a cat here. So my story, I'm going to start a few years back. So one day, as I'm on my spiritual path, the Lemurian Light Council comes to me in a meditation, and they say, Karen, you are descendant of Jesus Christ. Karen, you have a great mission. Karen, you are going to be met with two men. One will be Jesus Christ's resurrection, and one will be Antichrist. You will know when time is right, but clues will be there. So off I set on my mission, doing my guided meditations. If you want to come to a guided meditation, if you want to come to one at community centre events, I'm only supposed to have 30 minutes, but I always take full hour up. Reason being is that the first 30 minutes I need to talk about everything I do, such as oracle cards, runes, tea leaves, palmistry, you name it, I can do it. And you need to know, I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist, past life regression specialist. You name it. Anyway, so off I sets on my quest. Now, back in 2022, my Andrew is my twin flame. He gets me onto a community event by B&M, run by Melinda. Now, rumours are that Melinda has a thing for my Andrew, and potentially they might have done something. Now, I don't believe that. Okay, so my Andrew gets me on this event. She doesn't let me read, so I have to sell my wares. I don't understand why. She said she was full with readers, but there are only a couple there. But anyway, point being, that's when I met him, Richard the Warlock, and we got to talking. Anyway, I knew there was something about him, but I couldn't tell what, and I thought, this is one of them. This is either Jesus Christ in resurrection or the Antichrist. Now, based on the way he looks, as you can imagine, I had got my suspicions. So, we're going along, we become friends, and I start talking to him about his path. Now, we had a little bit of a fallout, because he don't believe in twin flames. Now, I tried to get through to him. I sent him all YouTube content you can think of on twin flames, but he still won't have it. Okay, he's an idiot. Anyway, we'd start doing some other events. Luju events. Again, small community events. Now, I said to Julian and Lorraine, when I got there, I said, now, I'm not being funny, but this is a spiritual event. It's a mind, body, spirit event. Somebody like him is too dark. You can't have him on here. He's stinking up the place. People aren't going to want to come. Well, anyway, he must be doing some hoodoo, voodoo, juju stuff, because he'd always have more readings than me, and I don't understand why. So he's obviously putting some dark black magic on it. So despite mine and Andrew's best efforts, we couldn't get him off these events because he were doing too well. He were a bit of a draw. Now, I'll happily admit, along the road, he has tried to help me best he could. Tried to set me up website. Now, first time he did it, I'll admit we had a fallout. Now, being a Scorpio, I thought, well, you're not going to have this on me. So I ignored him for months. Months and months and months. Didn't mention this website. Eventually he did it again, several months later. Could have been up to a year. I don't know. Us Scorpios, we can hold a grudge, you see. Got a sting in our tail. Anyway, he did eventually do it for me. Now, I'll quite happily admit, times have been tough. Well, I didn't want to pay to have advertising removed or have custom domain name. So, you know, it's his fault if he's wasted his time. He does know that I don't have the money like the rest of them. He tried to get me onto bigger events. I did do a couple, got to meet a few people. Problem is, they're so expensive. You know, they're not like small community ones. However, it did get me in with some other people. Now, I'm a caring, loving, light kind of woman, and I'm here to care for people. So, one of my favourite activities when I've got 5 minutes, because I'm so busy, is monitoring Facebook and seeing who might be having some problems. Because I want to help them, you see. I want to be first there to wipe their tears. Anyway, when he went through what he went through, he calls it death magic. What a load of oakum. He was having a mental breakdown. I was first there, messaging him, making sure he was okay. However, what does he do? Throws it in my face several months later. But I'll come to that in a bit. Now, me and Andrew were hoping that he might turn a leaf and he'd come on side with us. Stop talking all this nasty, horrible stuff. Stop being so aggressive and dark. We were hoping he might be the face of our charge, but he wasn't having it. In the meantime, I come across Joshua Matthews of South Yorkshire Spirituous Love and Light Brigade. He's the chosen one. He's the real one. And he says, Karen, you need to keep this warlock in your sights. Karen, he needs stopping. Karen, you have skills to turn him to the light side. Anyway, for the last couple of years, I've been trying to help him with healings, guided meditations. I took him to get his name, his spiritual name. Now, I forgot to tell him you shouldn't let anybody know what that is. Bit of a boo-boo on my part. But, you know, these things happened. Now, as part of the test, I needed to find out, was he Antichrist? So I took him on a guided meditation and stretched him through several layers of source. Now, I know he is Antichrist because afterwards he said, Karen, I don't feel very well. Karen, I feel drained. I feel like I've been stretched. I can't walk properly. And I said to him, don't worry, love. It'll be fine. It'll settle. But that, for me, was good indication that he is in fact too dark and potential to be the Antichrist. Because only if you're of the highest frequency of angels would it not have hurt. Anyway, he is still a human being, and this is why me and Andrew thought that there might be some saving him. But unfortunately, he's too stuck in his ways, and he won't let this go. I said to him, Richard, there's more to you than just this witchcraft stuff. I tried to get him to stop doing his witchcraft. You know, and this is where we are here now, him doing his dark magic. You know, he says return to sender's not dark magic, but we all know it is. Anyway, he decides to set up this new wave thing. Now, as soon as he starts talking about that, the people he's bringing on board, I'm like, this is terrible, this is a real bad idea. Now, we all know that he's secretly been trying to take over the Luju event since start. We all know it. And then what happens? It takes over, bowls over. Now, we all saw this coming. So this is why me and my Andrew, as soon as there were word of him taking over, we pulled out. We said, we're not doing it. We're not doing your event. We all know he was trying to take over this Sheffield one. So we said, we'll not do it. We'll not do it. Now, I don't care if that weekend we did the best out of a lot of them that were going on that weekend. That's not the point. It were too expensive. It were always destined to fail. Now, yes, it wasn't a failure, but the point was, it would have done had we not intervened. Now, along the way, I've had to save a lot of souls from him. One being Daenerys the Druid. Now, back at her first Luanju event, I went over to him, and he wasn't there. And I said, Daenerys, you've got to not align yourself with this warlock. It's too dark. You're going to get yourself into trouble. And lo and behold, months later, what happens? She sees the light and she goes a separate way. Now, I don't care what he says. She's a lovely lass. And I think this talk about her telling him that she'd been to some camp fraternising with Satanists is just a load of hokum. It's a load of hokum. She's a lovely young lass. It's him. He's the problem. And she had to walk away. Now, I've no doubt that he's said a lot of nasty things about me along the way. I can't see her saying horrible things though, because she's beautiful. Anyway, after she decided to part ways, she came over to me at Sheffield and we had a good talk, and I've got her onto some of the smaller community events that me and my people run. Now, he tells me that when he set up the new wave, Jacqueline Bogs, who run a small event in Rotherham, approached him and said, would you like to take over venue? And he said, yes, why not? I'm a little bit busy at the moment, but I will certainly look into it. Any road, obviously, he didn't really know what was going on. Jacqueline Bogs has always been a massive supporter of Daenerys the Druid, and the plan was for her to take over and to take charge. So once Daenerys decided to go her separate ways, Jacqueline obviously took her side, and in the meantime gave event to Susan Corn, who's taking over it now. So now I'm on that event, and I've managed to get Daenerys the Druid on board as well. She's been saved. She's going to save us all. And at some point soon, I'm going to introduce her to Joshua Matthews. Now, he reckons that Jacqueline Bogs has been in on this plan all along, because she's very, very good friends with Richard Johnson, international hypnotherapist, who he believes could be up to something a little bit different. He believes that he's part of Catholic Church. What a load of nonsense and oakum. Anyway, there was some talk about Richard Johnson potentially being involved in some scandal back in 70s and 80s at some druids, some monastery in Wales that were in papers. You have to do a little bit of digging, but it is there. Now, I've seen this, and I agree, it could insinuate that he was insinuating that it was an insinuation that he was there at the time of this not very nice stuff involving children. However, I don't believe that. Why would you believe that? He's part of spiritual community. And if Jacqueline Bogs, witch or no, got to send them all love, you see. They'll see the light at some point. Is friends with Richard Johnson, then this can't be true. It just can't be true, because Jacqueline Bogs has been very good to me, very good indeed. We've got very different belief systems, but I'll always show her love. Anyway, as we got closer to his event in Rotherham, I said, guys, we need to do something about this. We need to pull together. We need to set up our own events. We need to do what we're doing. We need to tell community, we need to tell people, don't go to Rotherham. Now, I'll admit, once he'd set up this new wave, I did attempt to try and have it manipulated with, let's say, but it were only for greatest good. So I got Emmylou involved, and at the right time I said, right, pull out now. Now Emmy Lou said to him, I'm not going to say anything about it, I'm going to keep quiet. And I said, no, you can't keep quiet. You need to put out a statement following day. I've decided to leave New Wave. It doesn't align with me anymore. And she did. Unfortunately, it didn't quite have the impact I was hoping for. Now, I've tried to have other people stop this movement a long way by being informants for me, going in between people who he considers his friends. Now, despite my best efforts, it's not really worked. The problem is, these people that I have working for Lightside with me, they're not strong like my Andrew. They ain't got the gumption like my Andrew. So it's not really worked. I've even tried to get myself back on his events, but he said no. Anyway, I will continue the good fight, because along the way I've had some offers from these people who he said are trying to off him. Lord Hokum. I mean, I remember I got onto rotation nights for one of them, okay? And I've, you know, being somebody who's never really had any friends and been bullied quite a lot as a kid, I've always been desperate to fit in. Now, as I've got older, as I've stepped into my divinity, and as I've realised I am descendant of Jesus Christ, I've understood that I am now in a position, a mantle, one might call it, where I can lead. Now, I don't bully anybody. I wouldn't dream of it, having been in that position myself. But I do understand that we have to try and be friends with everybody, show them love, despite what they've done to others. Anyway, when he told me his story of what's happened, I said, that's terrible, Richard. Terrible indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up working these ones that I've been booked onto, that I've been waiting so very long to get onto. And then after that, I don't think I'll do anymore, because you're my friend. Anyway, these, let's call them his accusers, have been very kind to me. And they've said, Karen, if you get information from him, you can stay on our events. Karen, we'll be your friend if you stop him in his tracks with what he's doing. Now, as you can imagine, being a nice, loving, light person, I was very torn, very torn. But then I remembered what Joshua Matthews said to me. You must stop him at every opportunity you can do, Karen, for he is Antichrist. Now, I've done nothing but be nice to him despite the chances of him being Antichrist. So I don't believe karma is coming. And I hope that he watches this and he understands that everything I have done, everything I have attempted, it's been for the greater collective and the greater good, because we are all returning to one. And he will not return to one whilst he's in this dark energy. So I hope he's nicer to me in the future. I hope he one day allows me back onto his events, and I hope that happens after he sees the truth of who I am, 1 at 13, the truth behind the messages from the councils that come through me when I'm channeling, the truth of angels. And don't forget, me and Archangel Michael have got a very close connection, very close indeed. And if it weren't for my Andrew, we would be together as one, as astral lovers. So I hope that explains the situation. I hope you can continue to come out to see me at the events I stand at. Just make sure you give yourself a little bit of extra time at the start of one of my guided meditation talks, because you need to know the services that I offer, because you need spiritual Karen in your life. Don't listen to the warlock. He could potentially be the Antichrist, and he is very, very dark. Love and light, peace to you, my angels. Spiritual Karen loves you. God bless.
Thank you.